is what does it mean, sampling distribution of sample means. I think this is the most important theory in statistics. If you understand this, maybe you would understand inferential statistics. Let's see how it look like. Consider population data. It's a histogram of 10,000 data. Suppose you calculate the mean and standard deviation, IQR, like this. Then we call these are the population parameter we want to estimate. Usually it is unknown if a population is so big. To estimate this, we collect a sample. In this case, roughly 1,000 data selected. But then definitely the histogram of this one, histogram of sample would be different. But if you calculate similar statistics like mean, standard deviation, IQR, can you see that there's a similarity? That's the clue. Because of that, we just statisticians try to find a relationship between population parameter and sample statistic. Be sure the notation, there is no S here. We call these are the sample statistics, sample mean, sample variance. But the question is, a sample statistics can be a good estimator of a population parameter? That is the question. The answer is sampling distribution of sample mean. Don't confuse that. I used the terminology. This is distribution of samples you collected. We are talking sampling distribution of sample mean. Let's see how it look like. Yes, population, a very small population. You don't need to sampling, but I'm just demonstrate it. You can calculate the mean and variance of this population, that is population parameter. And then I'm gonna collect all possible samples of size 2. Consider all possible sample size. It is very important concept. By simple random sampling with replacement. And then calculate the sample statistics of this sample mean. Well, and then find the frequency distribution of sample means and compare this with the population distribution. It looks like this. Population mean is 6, variance is 8. The number of all possible sample means should be 5 times 5 in case of with replacement. If it is without replacement, that should be 5 combination 2. Here's all possibility of samples, 2, 2, 2, 4 until 10, 10. 25 cases. We are talking calculate sample mean of each sample. If you look at these sample means, some of them is 6 as population mean, but some are not. In order to see some more detail, maybe we'd better look at this frequency distribution of all possible sample mean. These are the all possible sample mean. The highest frequency would be 6. That's correct estimation, right? Out of 25, only 5 sample means estimate correctly the population mean. But if you increase, maybe 5 is a good estimation of a population mean 6. It can be 13, right? 4, 5, 4 is 13. Graphically, it looks like this. These are the distribution of all possible sample mean. We call it this is sampling distribution of sample mean. Do not confuse you with the distribution of a sample, single sample. We are talking all possible sample means. Another observation here is, if you look at mean of all possible sample mean, it is the same thing as population mean. It is good characteristic. In a sense, I mean, many sample mean, we are considering all possibility. Many sample mean is close to population mean. If you look at variance, it explains more. Variance of this sample mean is original variance divided by n, actually. That means if sample size grow, this distribution is just narrow, keep going. Okay? It is very skinny distribution. I mean, around the population mean, they are just concentrated. That is the power of statistics, the statistician found. But theoretically, I can summarize in this manner. Suppose you have a population which is normal. It is a reasonable assumption in most of the cases, mean mu and variance sigma square. Then distribution of all possible sampling is exactly normal. We can prove that. The center is mean mu as the same as population mean. We call it, therefore, sample mean is a good estimator of population mean. Specifically, we call it is an unbiased estimator. The variance of all possible sample mean is population variance divided by n. Well, consider that example. Suppose you have 100 million population. You collect 1,000 samples. Suppose population variance is some value, 10. Well, the variance of the all possible sample mean is 10 divided by sample size 1,000. It becomes just 0.1. I'm telling you how skinny this sampling distribution, depending on sample size. Therefore, practically we collect one sample, but it belongs to one of a skinny normal like this. Okay? Well, even worst case is not far from actual population mean. That's the reason we are sure, although we collect just one set of sample, well, we can reasonably estimate population mean well. Statistician found some more theorem. What's the difference of these two? If a population is not normal, some kind of infinite population, any kind of distribution, not only normal or anything, but mean is mu, variance is sigma square, then distribution of all possible sample means is approximately normal, like this, same thing. We call this is a central limit theorem. It contributes a lot for further inferential statistics. Let's consider some example. Central limit theorem says it looks like this. If there are population distribution, if you collect a sample size like this, maybe if sample size is getting larger, well, it is close to the population mean. Let's practice with E-stat. Are you ready to do E-stat experiment? Click E-stat U and then click E distribution of sample means. Suppose you have a normal population, and then suppose you collect sample size of 5. We have 10,000 population. This is histogram. And sample size N1, 5, 10, 20. Get this. It is distribution of sample size 5, but we didn't do all possible. It is just 500 sample means. Their distribution look like this in case of sample size 5. If sample size is 10, well, can you see that? It is more a little concentrated about the mean. If it is n equal 10, maybe it concentrated more. Let's try to increase some more. It is 100. Click here. Can you see that? It is very skinny distribution. I'm imitating, although we collect one set of sample. We cannot collect all possible sample. If we can collect all possible sample, you don't need inferential statistics. We collect just one set of sample, then any sample mean, maybe it is close to population mean. That's the reason we are doing sample. Okay, I think this is important theory. I hope you keep in mind. Next class, using this kind of sampling distribution, we'll study estimation of a population mean.